The time is 4:30 p.m. The Pelican Rapids City Council meeting of 12 November 2024 is called to order. I'd ask those in our council chambers, if you have not signed the clipboard by the back door, if you would please do so before you leave this evening. And also ask everyone to please put their phones on vibrate. Roll call of members. Danielle?
Councilmember Steve Stratton.
Here.
Councilmember Kevin Ballard.
Here.
Councilmember Kurt Markgraf.
Here.
Councilmember Steve Foster.
Here.
And Mayor Brent Fraser.
Here. Again, I want to welcome each and every one of you to our city council meeting, those in our council chambers, those joining us by Zoom. Please remember our city council meetings are on the Pelican Rapids YouTube channel and also seen on Channel 14 on Wednesday evenings. I just have one announcement for the next couple of weeks. Our next city council meeting will be Tuesday, November 26, 4:30 p.m. in the council chambers. Any other announcements? Any other announcements? Hearing none, if we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 2 is citizens' comments. Anyone in the council chamber here for citizens' comments? Anyone for citizens' comments? Okay, seeing none. Item number 3 is additions, deletions to the agenda, and I have 3 of them. I have an addition. Item number 21 is SEH airport agreement, and that was handed out to you this evening. Item number 21 is SEH airport agreement. And I have a deletion, item number 4D2, financial report. Delete item number 4D2, financial report. And another deletion, delete item number 6, remove water penalties / turn-on fees, Roger Selesky. Delete item number 6. Any other additions, deletions?
I move to approve with the 2 deletions and adding 21 airports.
Second.
Motion second, discussion?
Number 6 taken care of.
He just couldn't make it tonight, so he'll be back.
All right.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Okay, item number 4 is approval of the consent agenda, which I'll read, and this is a little lengthy. Item number 4A is approval of council minutes from October 29th, 2024. 4B is approval of accounts payable listing. 4C1 is 121 Southeast 8th Street, parcel number 76002600319101, amount due of $491.85 in unpaid utility bills. Item number 4C2 is 501 Southeast 2nd Avenue, parcel number 76009904790006. Amount due is $166.93 in unpaid utility bills. Item 4D1 is police report, which is in your packet. 4C is cigarette license for 2025 for Larry Supermarket, Brittany Dawkins, Southtown C-Store, Jeannie Hovland, Park Region Co-op, Susan Bergerman, Paul's the Pelican, Luke Lordzell, and Dollar General, DG Retail. Item 4F is retail game license 2025. VFW Gilmore Week Post 5252, Pelican Rapids Pool Hall, Robert Bowers. 4G is business license 2025, Mobile Home Park, Z&Z Associates. Item 4H is plumber's registration for 2025, Wrigley Mechanical, Blake Wrigley, Hanson's Plumbing and Heating, Jason Strupp, Pelican Plumbing, Marty Hanson, Replica Plumbing, Stephen Erb. And 4H is Outdoor Sales Lot for 2025, Brett Sachs, Sachs Motors and Recreation. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
I'll second with
Motion.
the addendum that outdoor sales lot is item I.
Oh, excuse me.
That's fine.
Motion second, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Item number 5, Friendship Festival, and we have Justin Fury here this evening. Justin, you're going to give us a recap of last year and what's coming up this year?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. So just to introduce myself, my name is Justin Fury, and I'm the lead pastor of Thrive Church in Pelican Rapids. I serve on the board of the Multicultural Committee for Pelican Rapids. And one of the things that we do as the Multicultural Committee is do Friendship Festival. Our goal as Multicultural Committee is to build bridges between the diverse ethnicity groups that we have here and beyond. And so that we can live together and thrive together as well. One of the ways that we do that is by having Friendship Festival every year. And this year, or actually next year, 2025 is actually going to be the 20th Friendship Festival, which is pretty awesome. So we're going to be celebrating that. And we're coming to ask you guys for the typical reservations for the Friendship Festival for June 14th, 2025. And so the typical reservations for the campsite and all that stuff.
How many sites does that include? Is it all of them?
I'm not sure what they use.
Yeah, I believe you do all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I don't know how many we actually reserve, but we end up using the whole park because it goes everywhere. So.
And you've done that the last few years.
Yep.
Right, it's worked out okay. Yeah. So we're looking for a motion for.
I'll move we reserve the park for the Friendship Festival for June 14th.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Awesome, thank you guys. And I also want to give a report about this past year.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we typically do this, but I figured, hey, let's do it. Let you guys know what's going on. A lot of you guys have been to the Friendship Festival. I know Lance helped setting up at least the last couple of years, so that's pretty fun. But this past year, we had over 540 people attend the festival, so that's pretty fun. Pre-COVID, that number was bigger, and so we're just working up to get back to those numbers again. But we had 6 multicultural music and dance groups, which is pretty amazing. And we bring these from all over. And so that's the biggest expense for Friendship Festival. That was over $8,000 last year. And we have 5 food booths. And so different food vendors come, different ethnicities and whatnot. And we helped about 30 community vendors and artists build bridges to the community, which is really cool because different nonprofit groups or different artists that just, do painting or sculpting, whatever. And actually, for people to come and see that has been really cool to see the artist, because that's kind of a lost art of actually seeing things happen and with the age of industrialism and everything. And then we had surveys that we promoted everybody to take, and we had just overwhelmingly positive responses, actually more positive than I thought they were going to be. And one of the takeaways from the surveys, over 99.5% of the respondents said that Friendship Festival helps Pelican Rapids. And so that's just such a cool thing because obviously that's the main goal. So yeah. So we just wanted to let you guys know.
Okay, any questions for Justin? Thanks for the fine job.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go on to item number 7. Fire Department, we have Chief Chad Hansen is here.
All right, I'm Chief Chad Hansen. With me is Gary Moats, who's the president of the Relief Association. I guess we're here in front of you today to ask to raise our retirement payout from $3,600 to $4,000. Last raise was February of 2022. It was from $3,300 to $3,600. I'm assuming most of you know what that Relief Association is and where the funding comes from. Most of it is 2% money from the state aid. This year we deposited, it was $84,000. Our portfolio as of August 7th was $891,000.
City staff have any comments, concerns?
Sometimes it helps to have what's your bottom number, and that usually tells you, right, where you should be falling in between.
I could pass. I only got one of these. Average is $3,669. Maximum lump sum benefit is $6,800.
And that's kind of where they recommend you fall in between, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so. that gives you an idea.
What's this money coming out of?
It is in our portfolio. Basically, you guys are the managers of our raises. We manage the actual money ourselves. Actually, Lages do. 2% money comes in from insurances. We get it, goes into that account.
Is it once a year we get it?
Yep, as long as we file all the paperwork.
What'd you say?
We get it once a year.
Oh, what did,
Yeah, that's what I said, once a year we get it, that's all. I
okay,
said.
all right.
I do have, it's not the actual deposits, but, shoot. Let's see here. I thought I wrote those down, but our deposits. Jed, do you have the actual deposits that were made for the last 4 years or no? This one is just the.
The one from Gary?
Yeah, this is just the balances, but,
I have that.
okay.
It's a liability to the city if they don't have enough money to cover
Okay.
all of their retirements.
Correct.
But
And it's
they-
not levied money.
No,
Okay.
it costs the city absolutely nothing unless they don't have enough money to cover all their retirements.
So the only way the city has to kick in is if our $891,000 didn't pay out everybody. And that's if everybody quit today,
If the fire department pulled it.
there would
And
still be money
everybody's
left over.
vested and everything.
So, and that's where that $6,800 comes in. So,
So we have the money to do it, or they have the money to do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost the city or the taxpayers anything else. And there's no issue unless the whole place decides to quit tomorrow and want all their money. And they would still have the money to pay for it.
you guys got a bigger issue if we all quit.
Correct.
I'll move we approve this increase from 3,600 to 4,000.
I'll second.
Motion second. Discussion? 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 Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for the fine work you do.
And don't quit tomorrow. Item number 8, Pinewood Estates pay request number 2, and that was in your packet. We have Bob Schliemann from Apex Engineering of Detroit Lakes here to explain that. Bob?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff. Yeah, I think we've got pay request. Was that number 2, Lance? Yep, pay request number 2 to Landwehr Construction. basically, construction is pretty much halting for the season for both projects. I think Landwehr is here doing some correction and completion list items for the 59 to 108 project. And then the Pinewood Estates project, I don't know if any of you have been by there recently, but that's pretty much done, except for have to get some grass to grow out there, obviously. And then the final lift of bituminous will be done in 2025. But other than that, I think it turned out very well. So yeah, we'll do, I don't know if we'll do another pay request this year or not, because they did do some turf for seeding and stabilization here recently. We may do one yet here at the end of this year, but if not, we're probably looking at not making another one until next year when they do the final lift of bituminous pavement. So overall, it looks good.
This might be putting the cart before the horse, but do we have an idea when Otter Tail County is gonna start building?
We do not, well, I shouldn't say that. We've been asked to provide them as-built drawings, so they have some documentation that they can give building contractors to look at. I know originally they had talked about hopefully starting this fall yet, but that did not happen. So I do anticipate, and we haven't had any discussions with the county recently, but I do anticipate them starting hopefully next spring or early summer.
I talked to Amy about a month ago, Amy Baldwin. She said we start advertising for developers this winter sometime, so hopefully it'll take off in the spring.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a nice area up
Yeah,
there, definitely. Yeah.
Well, I move that we pay the pay request for $406,717.21 for pay request number 2.
Second.
Motion second, discussion? 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 Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. And don't go anywhere, Bob. Item number 9 is Highway 59 underpass discussion. And Bob is going to take us through a schematic drawing there and explain that to us.
So we were asked to put together some real basic preliminary drawings and then figure out if this is actually physically possible to get it to fit in where we've got it shown. So as you can see right now, when we went out there and met with MnDOT, school staff, city staff, West Central Initiative staff, we thought the best place to put this pedestrian underpass would be south of 7th Avenue Southwest. Just for the fact is if we put it north of 7th Avenue Southwest and got students and other pedestrians on the east side of 59, they would still have to cross the entrance to the elementary school. We just thought the safest would be to put it here so when they come, they could go directly to the elementary school, directly to Chauncey Martin Field without having to cross the entrance to the elementary school. So what we did is we did some preliminary work. We think this is possible. We would have to relocate some sanitary sewer. The sanitary sewer would be rather shallow. We'd have to insulate it heavily, but we think it's going to work. We would have to redo some water main and lower the water main to get underneath this structure. We're looking at an 8-foot high by 12 or 14 foot wide. Basically, it's a box culvert underneath 59. Or a pedestrian underpass. That's what we're looking at here. So we think we can actually also drain it. That was one other concern that we had, is if we put this in here, how do we get the water out of here? There is an existing storm sewer. Down here, it's shown in purple on the east side of 59. There's a catch basin down in that low area. We believe right now with the information we've got, and again, everything is preliminary, we think we can put a catch basin here, a catch basin here, and still by gravity get that water out of these areas. Will there be some challenges and things like that in the wintertime with freezing? Possibly. But the first step was to see if it physically can be done, and we think it physically can be done. Couple challenges, we may have to put a retaining wall over here. If we can't make the grades work for the sidewalk to meet ADA requirements, we don't know that for sure yet. We haven't gotten to that point. But again, thus far, we just wanted to put something together or take a look at the concept to see if it would work. And again, we think the overall concept is going to hopefully work. And I know you're going to ask me what are the estimated costs. Very preliminary. MnDOT gave some estimated costs of somewhere between $1 million and $1.5 million. We have not looked into this in detail yet as far as estimated costs. Everything that we've done to date has been on our time. I I know I believe Lance has had some discussions with the school district on this as well. They've been involved in some of the meetings as well, so they're aware of what's going on here. And I guess I just wanted to give an update as far as where we're at to date and what the city would like me to do moving forward, if anything at all.
How far does the right-of-way for the MinDOT go down the ditch?
So basically this line right here, that's kind of got a dash to it, or this black line, is close to MinDOT's right of way.
So the sidewalk, the sidewalk is in blue, right?
The sidewalk is in blue, and please realize that's not by any means the final location of it. We could keep it closer to the driving lanes or the highway and until we get to this point on 7th Avenue and then possibly diagonal it down. We just drew this in basically for schematic purposes. Again, we haven't looked at the grades there, Kevin. That isn't the final location necessarily. The one other thing that I should mention is in order to get this sidewalk in here to come down and get low enough so it's at the elevation of the invert of that structure, it's very likely that 7th Avenue Southwest would not connect to Highway 59 anymore. We can only come up at a certain grade to meet ADA regulations, meaning that, again, it's very likely if this structure is put in and we want to bring sidewalk in here to come down and connect with this structure, 7th Avenue Southwest would have to be probably abandoned or partially abandoned where it connects to 59.
The sidewalk on the other side, is that ADA compliant?
I can't answer that. I mean, that was put in a number of years ago. We haven't went through and checked it. You're talking about this trail over here?
Yeah.
Yep. It may be, it may not be. I honestly can't answer that.
And what's the school saying about this? Is this something they're requesting, or?
I think they're definitely interested in it. I know, Lance, maybe you can comment on that. I know you've had more discussions with the school district than I have.
Yeah, there hasn't been any complete opposition. I mean, they're for continuing to look into it. They can't necessarily,
Well, whose idea
Commit.
was this? I mean, who brought it up? Who started this? Where did this all
yeah,
start?
it was the school that started
School.
this conversation years
Well,
ago.
then they should be interested in it if they're the ones that brought it up. I mean, that doesn't make sense to me that, that answer doesn't, I mean, yeah, they're very interested. Well, I would think they would be very interested if this whole thing was their idea. This wasn't obviously not in any of the previous MnDOT plans, right?
Was not.
Has the school board talked about this at this point?
Depending on what you guys kind of want to, how you want to move forward, or if move forward at all, they'll discuss it tomorrow night at their school board meeting.
But they haven't discussed it to this point.
There's been talk, they know about it, of course, and I don't know that there's been any official discussion at a school board meeting whether to move forward or anything like that, but.
So it's school property on one side, it's private property on the other side, and in between is MnDOT right-of-way. Why is the city even involved in worrying about paying for it? It should be, if the school wants it, then they should foot the bill. And they would have to convince the private owners to, I mean, I don't think the city would have to be involved in it. Because it's not our property, and we can't take away private property without a process I refuse to be a part of. And then we have to think about vacating an avenue. And it's my experiences with underpasses, there's a safety concern, there's more of a safety concern with an underpass than making them cross the street at the new crossing that MnDOT put in by Faith Church. You're gonna have to light it, you're gonna have to camera it. I've worked events where they have underpasses. Bad things happen in those underpasses. The first thing that's gonna get broken will be the lights, the next thing will be the cameras, or switched around. There'll be graffiti in them by the time the shiny wears off at the end of the summer. I don't think it's a good idea. They just put in a brand-new crossing up by the church for the school. That, if they do a likewise crossing by the signage by the football field, you could cross people to the dollar store. That's the only business that is south of that. Because is the plan to continue that south
So, yeah, shared use path.
next year
It'll go,
on
well,
that side?
in 2028.
2028, they're planning on redoing Highway 59 from Fifth Avenue, which is just south of the high school, all the way down to the interstate. So this area right now, MinDOT is planning to redo in 2028. As part of that project, they are planning on putting a sidewalk on the west side.
But their plan is to put it right up by the road, correct?
Their plan is the schematics that we've got, which are preliminary, is to have a 5-foot boulevard and then a 6-foot wide sidewalk. So there is gonna be some separation between the driving lanes or bituminous for the driving lanes and the sidewalk.
But it's relatively close to the.
It is,
It's
you're
similar
right.
to what they've done west. How they
Yep.
put that multi-use path in the
Yep.
space between the highway and the path.
So if we do this or not, there'll still be a path there.
Yep.
Yeah,
But there is one thing, Bob, that if we do this, that path will not be able to continue as we once planned it, correct?
We don't know that for sure.
Okay.
That is a possibility, Brian.
Yep.
We haven't looked into it enough to, again, this is just all conceptual, very preliminary. We haven't looked into it far enough to determine whether or not we can continue this sidewalk and get over this driveway and continue it south. So that is an unknown at this time. We would like to, obviously, but that's an unknown, so.
I would hate to lose that concept that's been planned now for a while.
Correct. There has been grant monies secured for that sidewalk too.
but not the underpass.
Not the underpass, nope, just the sidewalk.
Well, I would like to know definitely what the school's position is on this before we discuss it further.
That's fair.
It's their property. I mean, they're the one, if it goes forward, it's school and private. I don't know why, and MinDOT. Those three or any combination of those three should have to pay the bill. The city of Pelican shouldn't have to worry about it. We have enough going on with our current project that we're gonna be paying for.
Didn't MinDOT already balk at the idea of putting an underpass in on their dime?
Yeah, on their
On their
dime,
dime,
they're,
yeah.
they've indicated that they would not participate financially as, to my knowledge, yeah.
Well, I think moving forward, then I think the school would want to know what the city's position is as far as, would there be willingness to fund some of this or not? If they know that the city's not on board for doing, or for helping anyway, I don't know that they'll move forward either, so that's kind of where they're at too, so.
Right. Was there we don't even have a preliminary ballpark figure at this time.
We haven't. I mean, if there was interest this evening for the city to move ahead, I was gonna ask for authorization to move ahead and do some more detailed work as far as, will some of this stuff work? Can we extend the sidewalk this way? And then diving into the detailed costs. But with that being said, I can come back and say there's an estimated cost of, let's just throw $1 million out there. At that point, we still have to go out and apply for grant dollars to fund a lot of it. So there is a lot of unknowns as far as the financials go. So,
Well, I
yeah,
would say the two guys talking aren't gonna be around here in a couple of months, so I would say you other two guys should be a little more involved in the process.
I personally, I'm not interested in an underpass. I've been, my experience in underpasses has been the same as Kevin discussed. And do I like the idea of a super safe way to cross the highway? Because we do cross the highway a lot as kids and pedestrians here. You know, I'd rather have a glass-sided overpass like Concordia way before an underpass.
That's more than $1 million.
I know, but that's my point. I'm not really on board personally with an underpass.
sure.
I make a motion not to pursue the tunnel.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second not to pursue the plan at this point, or the plan. Discussion? Discussion?
Just as, for a point of discussion, that could be changed if the school is really interested.
I would say if the school is really interested, the school would pay for it. I don't think it should be a taxpayer dollar involvement. I get the school money is taxpayer dollars, but I don't think that the city of Pelican Rapids should have anything to do with it.
I just wanted to clarify where we're at on it.
Yeah.
I would add more of those bright lights, you know, the kids can push the button and
Yep, I
people
like,
do see those.
yep, they're an attention getter, for sure.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Lance, you'll relay that message on to Mr. Korf?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else, Bob?
I don't think so. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Item number 10 is 2023 audit review. We have Dean Berkland from Carlson CPAs and Advisors with us here this evening, and the document and also a pamphlet was on our council desk this evening when we arrived. So, Dean, you want to take it away?
Yeah, well, thank you, Mayor. Good to be here tonight to run through the 2023 audit. And as the Mayor mentioned, there is a separate handout. I believe it's 4 pages. And instead of the purpose is instead of paging through the audit report, which can be a little bit clumsy, a little bit awkward, and easy to get lost, I think for me and you guys, but regardless, we're just we'll go over the same items. It'll just be in, we'll just look at these pages. So yeah, if you guys have a handout, the first page is the independent auditor's report. And this is after we get done doing all of the audit steps, all of the procedures, all of our audit work, we have to issue a report on our findings, basically our conclusion on the audit. And if you look at the, there's a little table there, it says summary of opinions. And those opinion units are listed on the left for each separate opinion unit of the city. And on the right of that table is what's called the type of opinion. And in our business, in our world, unmodified is the best opinion that we can give as auditors. And as you can see, most of those items are unmodified. There is one qualification, and that has to do with the Fire Relief Association. Under the accounting standards, in order for the city report to be reported in accordance with generally accepted accounting standards, the fire relief would have to have an actuarial valuation of their operation, and they have not had that valuation. So when that's not done, we have to report that as a qualified modification. So, and in our business, many of our cities do the same thing. They choose not to have that valuation, and really, it's really comes down to a cost-benefit issue. If they were to have that valuation, it's an ongoing yearly valuation that tends to be you know, they can be fairly costly too. So short of that, though, all of the other opinion units of the city are what we call clean opinion units and unmodified. So, okay, if you guys want to turn to the next page, this is there's a lot of numbers and a lot of financial information in the full audit report, and we're just going to look at 2 financial statements from the audit report.
What page are you on there?
This would be page 21.
Oh, that, okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. Bottom of the page is, it does have a page number on it, and this is page 21. And this is, the city has 2 type of funds. The city has governmental funds, which this page reflects all the governmental funds. And the next page we look at is what we call enterprise funds, and that would be the city water, sewer, and liquor store. And again, there's a lot of numbers here, and we don't have time to drill too deep into the numbers. But the number that really matters is the very bottom number of each column. And what that number is, that's the fund balance for each of those individual funds that are listed across the top of the columns. And for example, the first column is the general fund. So if you look at that first column, general fund, if you get to the very bottom of that column, that's the fund balance for at the end of December 31st, 2023. So, and for each column, that bottom number represents the ending fund balance for those funds. And it's fair to say that for the city, the general fund, the first column, there's lots of different measures as far as what an adequate fund balance is for the city's general fund. And I would say for the city of Pelican Rapids, just about by any measure that you would measure your fund balance against, the city fund balance is very adequate and is well in line with recommendations. So that fund balance is in very good shape. So. Okay, if you guys want to turn to the next page, this would be page 24. And we mentioned earlier the city's enterprise funds. That's the water, sewer, and the liquor fund. And same thing, this would basically be if you were talking about a for-profit entity, this would be the profit or loss for each individual fund. And the number that's probably most important is about 2/3 of the way down the statement where it says net income before transfers. And that number would be basically the profit or loss for each individual fund for 2023. And that number is before transfers that you guys make to the general fund and other funds. And as you can see, if you look across that row for each individual fund, all of the funds are performing quite well. And yeah. And again, the very bottom number is the what's called a total net position. And what that is that's the total equity in each individual fund as of December 31st, 2023. And as you can see, that net position is in good shape at the end of 2023. So, okay, if you guys want to turn to the next page, we just got a few items here with some findings that we report. As part of the audit, we look at the city's internal controls, and we just have a few items, and I see some familiar faces here. This is similar to items that we talked about last year. These are internal control issues that we report during the audit. The first one is preparation of financial statements and footnotes. We, the auditors, prepared the financial statements and the footnotes, and if we do that, we have to report that as an internal control finding. And we do that for many of our cities. It's a very common finding for us, and just about every one of our cities have us prepare the financial statements, and so it's a very common finding in our business. So, okay, if you guys turn to the next page, this would be page 80, and this is segregation of duties, and ideally every transaction of the city should have at least 2 sets of eyes on them, and most of the city's transactions do. But occasionally there's times where they might not have that second set of eyes, and if they do, some other items too that there may be internal control or segregation of duty where there's not all the segregation sometimes needed to have that ideal segregation of duties. We have to report this as a segregation of duties finding, and but what it does not mean the city does not have good internal controls. The city actually has very good internal controls, and but that barometer is the ideal segregation of duties. And again, in our business, I would say probably 95% of our cities have of similar findings. That's just very, very common, so. Okay, next page is page 81, and this is the last internal control item, and this is audit adjustments. Some of our audit adjustments become, the larger adjustments are considered material, and if we consider those material, we have to report those as a internal control finding. And just like the other two findings, I would say 90 to 95% of our city audits have similar findings with those type of adjustments. So, okay, the last item here is it's a communication to those charged with governance, and this letter is issued separately from the audit report. We're required to issue this letter with all of our audits, and there's just a handful of items here. I think we've gone through those in the past, but for the most part, all of the items in here are very standard. There's nothing out of the ordinary that is reported. It's all just pretty much standard. I guess, yeah, just standard letter. There's no additional, nothing, no findings or things that are not ordinary, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it. So, well, that takes care of a quick run through the through some of the reports and that. And what I'll say is Danielle and Lance, I have the city records and city everything in good order, and our audit goes very well, and that really it's nice for us, and because there's times where sometimes that doesn't happen, and so it's just very good, and it's it just makes our job that much easier. So so with that, if there's any questions about the audit, about the report, I'd be happy to take any questions. Yes.
Next year, somebody else is going to be doing the budget. I'm not going to be. But I want to say, might be these two guys or the two people sitting behind you, but this would be pretty handy to have when we sit down and do the budget in August. Because it's all summed up very nicely there. I was looking through it before the meeting, and it would be very handy to have to look at that before, as we're trying to figure out the levy and some of these other things. So if that could be done, that would be very nice for somebody here, not for me, but.
Right. Yeah, I think, and if you guys look at your the big full audit report, the blue books, there is a report in there. It's called Budget versus Actual, and it's a detailed report of all your budgeted revenues, all your budgeted expenditures for the general fund, and through that budgeting process, I think that would be a really beneficial something to have, when you guys are going through that process. So, yep.
Good point. Any other questions for Dean?
How much time do you spend here, Dean? Do you come up here and meet with them, or what?
We do. What I'll say is, over the years, pre-COVID, it used to be just about the entire audit was performed on site. And then after COVID hit, we were doing some remote. We'd do some of the planning and some of those type of things. But once COVID hit, for that, at least that audit, that was just about 100% remote, with all the restrictions and all that. Well, since then, more of our auditing has become remote. We do a lot of, we use a portal, which the city uses, and Danielle and her team upload a lot of the documents through that portal. So we spend the number of days on site. I think I was here a couple days, 2 days if I'm not mistaken this year. And then we also, the remote people were working, we had a couple people working remotely as well, those same couple days. But a lot of it, it's just that the trend is just we're just doing more and more and more, remotely. So,
Work from home, right?
I work from home?
Yeah.
Not yet. I'm working on it.
I can imagine.
You mentioned One of the findings about the fire department, did they take care of their own audit, or does that come through the city also?
The fire relief has their own audit. The fire department is included in here, but the fire relief is separate.
And
Who
we-
does their audit?
We do the fire relief audit too.
Okay.
And it's, the state of Minnesota they have what's called the SC form, where they do their calculations, which are actuarial calculations that the state of Minnesota has. So you're kind of doing it, but that valuation doesn't meet the accounting standards. The type of valuation that would meet that would be like a PERA, when they do their calculations for all the retirement for, the pensions and those type of things. So it's a very common finding. I hesitate to say a cost because I don't really know. A few years ago, I would have had a pretty good guess, but it's in I believe it's in the thousands of dollars, multiple thousands every year. And they're kind of, I think every other year is considered, I think, the year they do more work. So there's kind of an off year where they don't do as much work. And but some of our cities do have it. It's just the majority of the ones of our cities don't do it. And really I think it really comes to the cost benefit to get rid of that. Is that worth, the cost of doing that? And then, depending on the position, but that's really what it comes down to. So,
Any other questions for Dean? If not, we need a motion to accept the 2023 audit report.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you, Dean.
thank you guys.
Fine work. Okay.
Thank you.
Item number 11 is crosswalk sign discussion, and is that going to Councilman Strand to bring that forward?
I brought that up. I was in Detroit Lakes last week, and they had way more signs than we do. They still had a couple on the highway, Brian.
What do you mean?
Well, like we took ours down.
Yeah, they're
Do it.
not, so,
Of all the pictures, you put a waste management garbage truck in there?
It is? Burn.
so
Whatever,
one of the things
whatever.
we have to remember is this is not a state highway. So when I put those crosswalk signs out,
Yeah.
I have to have them permitted. And they're from April or May to August 1st, or October 1st, I have to take them down.
Yeah.
This year with the construction, they came down really early, but, yeah, I've seen these also. I took a couple pictures of similar down by, I was up in Detroit Lakes also.
Okay, thanks. But they're right, they're
by
right.
there, yeah,
Yeah, and it's,
yeah.
you see it more. and
The
I-
blinky lights that they, excuse me, the blinky lights that they have with the crosswalks for like at the high school, are they gonna be at like downtown also? Those same
Just the
ones?
ones at the center by a hardware store.
Okay.
That's the only other pedestrian activated ones there will be.
You can really see those. Those are really,
Yeah, they're bright. Yeah. So what would it take to add just some more signs down there?
Probably permitted, and we'd have to just buy the signs, have them we'd have to get a permit to install anything else that they did. So this was, everything that's up was in their plan, their sign
Okay.
plan. And I agree, I think these crosswalks, especially in the roundabouts, they're visible, but they're not very visible.
Right.
I feel like there should be something else
Right.
highlighting those.
yeah, and I mean, this street hasn't been open very long, and I've already seen like a Frogger game with people trying to
Right.
cross right there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess it'd be nice to see those blinky light signs at all of those crosswalks, but
For example, if you're coming up from, say, the pool hall, and you're gonna go south, and you're looking at the roundabout, and then all of a sudden, there's a crosswalk right there, you don't see that.
Right, it's kind of
Unless you're
too close,
used to
it
it.
feels, yeah.
So,
And there has been some citizen complaints about the crossing safety in the crosswalks.
yeah, so I'd really like to do some more.
But, I mean, you look right there, there's not really a lot of space for another blinky sign.
No, but we could put one of those.
One of those permanent crossing signs on the side,
On the
probably
side,
not in the
correct.
middle, because that's gonna
No.
cause a problem with
That's gonna be.
traffic or anything, but,
Yeah, those,
you know, they're out of the way on that shared
But I
use
think
path.
Those pedestrian activated ones, I mean, you really see those when somebody wants to cross there.
Yeah, they're
Because
100
you
times better
can't,
than what we had.
you can't see, like, even today, I was going home and there was a lady trying to cross by the liquor store, and
Yeah.
that isn't a roundabout, that's just a straightaway, and
Yeah.
Those signs could be up permanently, you believe?
I don't know if they'd let us have them up, or if it would be a seasonal thing like we've had in the past. I'll have to check with.
You know, them bolt-on ones like that one,
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean-
yeah.
that, I think, is tenfold better than the tent plastic style ones, you know,
Yeah.
or the weighted bottom ones. I think
Yeah.
they stay in place longer, they're more durable, if MinDOT lets you put them in there right away.
Correct. So I will check with that.
I mean, if they truly are traffic safety conscious, I don't think.
Well,
I'm not sure they are, but
if they're truly traffic safety conscious, they would have put those no parking zones that they painted in hash lines in yellow rather than white, because
everybody parks in them.
right in front of the drugstore, they park right at that corner, and if you try to go north, coming from the west, or coming from the east, somebody's gonna lose a back corner on their car, right there.
They're working on
Shocked it
getting,
hasn't happened yet.
working on getting no parking signs there and all those hashed marks, but
And in the spring, we will paint yellow.
All of
through
it will
there.
be yellow?
Yes, not the stripes. We can't paint the stripes yellow yet. We have to give MinDOT a couple of years to forget about them, then we can. It's
They
basically-
can't paint them, they
They
don't.
won't. They're supposed to be white, according to their handbook.
Yeah, yeah. But you'll check on this signage,
I
Brian?
will check on this and get back to
Have a
December.
bunch of monkeys that
Okay.
work down at that place.
and those lights are expensive,
There are-
you know?
Yes, and we paid for those.
Really?
Ones that we put in, we had to pay for.
The pedestrian
The
activated
activated
ones?
lights, yes.
Where, like the new ones?
Downtown, yeah, the new ones.
How much were they?
I can't remember what they were.
Because I thought at the school, they were like 29 grand, that was
No,
many
our
years
old
ago?
ones, they're not that bad.
Those are very, I mean, those pedestrian activated ones, man, you can see those things when somebody hits that button, you can see them.
They're way better than the old ones
would
at
be
the
a
school,
lot.
though.
It's so nice because they're not going all the time, so you know, as a driver,
Yeah.
if that's blinking, I gotta look for pedestrians.
Have they got all the kinks out?
You know, I didn't notice them flashing on their own today, so I'm
Yeah,
hoping so.
they got problems with them.
I don't know, I walked through both sides. The other day, I walked down one side and then back on the other side, went through both roundabouts. And I did it when it was busy, and I didn't have a problem.
But you're a big guy, how about a little person, Steve?
I pushed them out in front of me, you know?
Okay, Brian, you want to check on that and get back to us?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, kind of. Anything else, Steve?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Item number 12, Street and Parks Report, Superintendent Brian Olson.
Yes. We haven't got winter yet, but that's a bonus. Do have all our seasonal equipment ready for winter if it does show up, which I'll take another last year, no problem. Street sweeping, kind of wrapping up, try to wrap it up this week probably. Put that away. Been working on some hydrant maintenance and winterization. That is, we put either mineral oil or food grade grease in the hydrants, keep them lubricated, keep them moving, pump them out. Some of them don't have weep holes, so we have to pump them out and then put hydrant guard in them so they don't freeze during the winter. So we're completing that. Bob did mention a little bit about land where I talked to their project superintendent this morning. He said they will be out of here by the end of this week, so they'll be wrapped everything up and we'll get a little break. I call it halftime, and then they'll be back in the spring to finish up. Parks End, the pool is so close to complete. They passed their state inspection last Thursday. So when they gave us a little crash course in operating the pool and how it all operates, it's a lot less intimidating than it appears, actually, when I was in the mechanical room right away, compared to the old pool. But I think it'll be good. They will come back in the spring and do a startup with us. So when we're ready to fire it up, we'll call them. They'll come up, and our crew will go through every process with them, and they have videoed some of it, so that if we have question on different things, we have a video we can go back and look at and see how they did it. But so that
Are there written procedures with that too?
I would imagine there are some in the product manual that's about that thick, but we haven't gone through it yet to see it. But similar with the old pool, I'm guessing there is, Steve. The old pool, we kind of wrote our own as we got to know how that pool reacted and what it did. So, but we'll come up with something with that, make sure that everybody's trained on it, and it'll be good.
Brian, where are these people from that do the startup?
Aqualogic, they're out of somewhere down near the cities. So they came up, they fired it up last week. They had to have it all fired up for the state inspection. That's why it was full and moving, and they passed that. They just drained it right back down to seasonal. So it's ready for winter right now. So that's on the pool. The only thing going on in the parks otherwise is all the decorating for Peteyville. There's more and more stuff every time I look up there. Somebody's put something new up there, so that should be exciting for the winter.
Yeah, and they lit up Veterans Park on Sunday.
That was, last night they had it lit up too. That was really nice.
Yeah.
Drove by there, so.
Yeah. Any questions for Brian?
I have two. Why do they have to leave water in the pool?
Just from freezing so it doesn't push up from frost.
What
So they
pushes
leave
up the-
weight, the bottom, the concrete can push up, so they leave weight in there to keep it down, is the theory that they've always done. We kept water in our old pool also.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
I was asked,
Yep.
how deep is it then? How much?
I didn't look at see where, I know it's in the deep end on both sides. There's some, like where the slide ends, and then on the diving board end of it, there's water there. So it's not all full, not all of it has water in it, it's just the deeper points.
And my big concern is staffing the pool.
Yes.
So what's your plan?
Going to start working on that probably when I get back from vacation next week. How does that sound? No, my plan is I'd like to work with school, community ed, or anything, see if we can get some relationship going where we can have a bunch of kids go to these. It's hard to have it here when they can offer these lifeguard classes in community centers around the area, and they do. So that's my plan, but I am going to start working on that so we make sure we have staff to open in the spring.
It'll be here before you know it, so.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
As an FYI, the library board at the last board meeting voted to not have Bradrick's come for their, well, wait a minute. We've already paid for this year, correct?
Yeah. They did.
We budgeted for it, but I don't think we paid it.
Yeah, we haven't gotten a bill for it.
Yeah, they said that they're not gonna have, the library board said that they voted to not have Bradrick's do their snow removal, so.
This winter?
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Back on you. And your minions.
Can I hire Bradrick's?
No.
Not in the budget.
Any other questions for Brian? If not, is there a motion to accept the street and parks report?
So moved.
Well, one of those must be a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same, motion carried. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Item number 30, Minnesota National Bank sleigh rides. We have Shelley Gummeringer here this evening for a presentation. She does have a date, which I'll say on there, December 6th,
Yes.
2024, 4 to 6 p.m. at Sharon Park Campground.
Right, yep. So Minnesota National Bank has their holiday open house on that day. So along with that, we do free sleigh rides. And we did it through the park last year. It went really well, no issues. We have Farm 41 from over by Burgess came over, and they were good. Trinity gave us permission to use their parking lot too, and they just did a little circle. Checked with Doug Brueggemann too, just because they are gonna be set up. Is there, gonna be any conflict as far as where the horses would go or anything like that? And there was not gonna be a problem. So we'd like permission to use the park for those 2 hours on that date.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, discussion?
Question.
Yes.
If there's a lot of snow, will we have to remove the snow for you, or what do you, last year we didn't have any, so.
No, and they were prepared if there was snow. They said they could still get through.
Okay.
So they weren't concerned about that. And I don't know if there is a lot of snow for Peteyville. Are you gonna do any snow removal for
We're gonna try
that?
and keep it open
Yeah.
for the weekends anyway, is our plan right now, yeah.
Yeah, so we wouldn't expect anything extra.
Okay.
Discussion? Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you, Shelley. Item number 14, last meeting in December discussion. Danielle.
So we have this discussion every year. The last meeting in December is, I suppose technically,
Day before Christmas.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve it would be.
Oh,
Perfect.
So.
I vote you have it.
You're still council at that point.
Skip it.
So, and if we wanted to go a week earlier, then it's still Christmas Eve. So, generally in the past, we only have one meeting, in
That's wor-
December.
It's worked out fine for your staff?
It works out fine for my staff.
Okay.
We pay the bills at that first council meeting. And then, I do another bill listing later in the month, and I just send it out to council asking if there's any concerns, and I'll hold those bills back if there is. And so if nobody has any problems with that, we'll just have the one meeting in December and then wait until January
You looking for a motion?
to skip the last meeting in December, yes.
I move we skip the last meeting in December.
I'll second.
Motion and second.
Steve.
Discussion? In the first meeting in December, we have to pass our final budget for 2025. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Item number 15, canvass the vote resolution number 2024-17, and that was in your packet. Danielle, do you want to speak to that,
I
please?
do. So that was the phone call I got right in the middle of the council meeting, was from Wayne Stein telling me how many actual voters we had in Pelican Rapids was
A lot.
a lot. We had 711 the day of the election, but total with absentee was 873. So that goes in the little bitty blank up there.
How many?
Otherwise, 871,
871,
or 873, sorry.
873.
Yeah. But everything else, total number of persons voting, yep. We registered 143 people that day, so that was good. And then it looks like everything else is the same, yep, so, everything on the resolution, the total numbers are the same. So I just need that resolution passed.
Move to adopt resolution 2024-17.
Second.
Motion second, discussion?
Compared to last year?
Yeah.
More voters, less voters?
Well,
have to go
it's always more. We didn't
Presidential.
have an election last year, but it's always more when we have a presidential election. But we seem to be going more absentee every time. So I would say less here, but it was steady the entire day.
So do you track, like, no, my son Noah, when he was home on leave, he was able to vote early. So is that 7-11, is that include like the early voters?
No, that 7-Eleven is just the people that day, election day
So
here.
do they include, are they included in the absentee?
Yep, they're included in the 873.
Can you early vote here? Or you have to go?
No, you gotta go
Fergus.
first.
Yeah, that's where you did. But I was just wondering.
What is a 771 number?
Did I say 771 maybe?
873.
7-Eleven
7-Eleven. and
That's how many
873.
voted here.
in-house that day, walkthroughs.
Yeah.
The others were absentee.
With all 143 were registered in this room,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been in this place that busy on an
Yeah, I know
election.
when you were.
What time of
doing
day was
the,
that?
I was
lines.
standing like right there,
Yeah.
but I had to go back out there,
Yeah.
around the room,
Looking through,
and
it
then
was
in.
so-
At
that-
noon?
You know, I came at 7?
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
6,
Okay.
between
6:30
6
and
and
7.
7, it was
Okay.
so busy, I'd never
Yeah.
had
They
it
didn't
that
really have to,
busy
they just
before.
wanted to make curve in circles.
It was great, I mean, I was helping others vote.
He was not, he was not.
Any other questions? I'd like to thank Councilman Ballard and Councilman Foster for their years of service on the city council. Very much appreciative.
We'll call you come budget season.
And we have incoming members, Don Perrin and Shelley Gumringer in our council chambers this evening. So welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Item number 16, civil defense alarm discussion. And Danielle, were you heading that up or who?
I guess, Brian
Huh?
took off, didn't he?
Go.
Todd was gonna be here, but he's sick as well, so.
Yeah, so I guess it's all just left to us, huh, Lance? Yeah, so we kind of talked about it last meeting when Todd was here, that he had gotten, he had applied for the 2 grants, and we ended up getting the 2 grants. One of the sirens does not work, the one up here on the north. The south is working, but it's kind of obsolete.
And too low.
And too low, yep. And so it was, do we want to put another one somewhere else? Do we want to replace that one? Since we didn't budget the extra $8,000. So I was looking for $8,000. Todd and I talked a little bit this morning, and he said that he thinks if you decide to go with replacing both sirens, that he thinks where the old siren in the south is, on the southwest side of town, is a good spot, because that seems to be about a mile from everywhere, and that's what they suggest doing.
Did we ever determine where that one was powered from? Or is that still a mystery?
It is metered, actually. I
Yeah.
found the power bill and it's not, no, it's not metered, but they have just an estimate every month. We just pay a flat fee every month, basically, is what it was. But it is on the
I
bill.
could do that.
Right? Yeah, but that's good.
Where is it? I forgot.
It's by the Corda house,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, by Bonnie Onan's.
West side of the house.
I was
Right on the
thinking
corner
by
there,
the
isn't it?
old fire hall, but
There used to be one on the roof of the old fire hall,
Yeah, there was.
but it hasn't,
Well, it's still there. That was for
Yeah.
fire alarms.
every time there was a fire call, that would go off.
So,
Yeah, so we have the one here, and it's being moved. We know that for sure. I found $8,000 if you want to replace this one. I know, magic, right? And so if you want to replace this one, we will put it up higher, and we can replace this one with a new and improved one.
and that So that 8,000 with the 2 grants covers both
No, we budgeted 8,000.
for the other?
Yeah, to fix, or for the one that does not work. We have, so I was just looking at different ways we could fund it without completely leaving the 2025 budget, not even looking at that. But, so I was looking at the investment schedule, and we do have a CD that comes up. I don't know if I'd even have to go into it, but there's a $200,000 CD that comes due in 2025, that's $200,000. If I needed to, I could go into that. There's capital equipment funds of $45,000. I could take 8,000 out of that, or we have liquor store funds set aside that is not listed for anything of $340,000. I could take 8,000 out of that. So I feel we could easily, if this is something council wanted to do, come up with $8,000.
Who's in charge of turning them on?
County. I mean,
Dispatch. Dispatch
Yeah.
can set them off. When I was working here, and if we had inclement weather and we were sky watching, we would radio dispatch and tell them to light off the alarm, and they do it.
we do have a magic button also.
Right.
Where is that?
I'm not
Chief's
telling.
office? Your desk?
No, it's been pressed and it's hard to get them shut off.
It's in the back here. It
Yeah,
was
it's in
pressed
the-
accidentally once. And it's,
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that has to have some work done to it also?
It's
I don't
weird
know
that you
that
didn't
that
touch
works
it on the
anymore
first
because this
Wednesday.
one doesn't,
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure if it's even, if this button back here works anymore even.
We'll try it tomorrow. No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Will there be a local access to it? I mean,
Well, Todd will have that figured out. Well, obviously, a police officer can call into the county and have it activated at any time. So I don't think there's a reason to have even, I mean, it's probably more of a pain to come back here and press a button than it would be to call dispatch and have it
Yeah.
turned on.
So it would be weather or
Weather or
China or,
it could
Steve Strand's
could be
birthday.
anything.
I don't know if anybody listens to them. I mean, they don't at our house.
Well, I've been driving by it and it goes off and the dog just howls. Seriously thought about shooting the thing out.
I think they're worth their weight. I mean,
They're good?
you don't pay attention to them, huh? I do. I do. I mean, and it always reminds me it's the first Wednesday of the month.
Yeah.
Really?
Do we need to specify the funds that comes out of, or just approve the 8,000?
No, if you're fine with using 8,000, then I'll just use it probably out of the liquor store funds.
You're looking for a motion.
Yes.
I move that we go forward with the replacement of both civil defense alarms, and that you will take the money out of the necessary funds.
I'll still second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion. Discussion. You got all the clarity on that, Daniel? Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 17, that's just an FYI, a library report, which was in your packet. I don't know if Councilman Ballard or Administrator Roysum has anything to add to that.
We approved the hire of the custodian Alicia, not a local last name. Zlochevska.
Yeah.
Zlochevska. At the first step of $16.63 an hour, the library staff, she's already been there a couple of times, 15 hours a week, and the library staff is very happy with the work that she's doing. So,
So I'd like council to approve that hire also.
I'll move we approve the custodian hire for the library.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion. 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 Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Anything else from the library?
probably not from the library, but for me, with me going off the council, whoever has this portfolio should take my spot on the library board. I don't know which one of you that will be, but.
We'd have to approve
And I
that.
think we passed at the, sorry to interrupt, but at the first meeting last January, I think we took action to make that a thing, where the person who had
Yeah.
this portfolio was the council rep on the library board.
Will that have to be done sooner this year? Because of meeting
Well,
schedule?
he's saying that you actually took action on that council member was going to be on the library board, so
Okay.
I can't remember what,
Oh, yeah, I don't remember if it, I guess, I don't remember if it was an appointed position or if it was.
It was whoever had
The portfolio.
the portfolio, the library portfolio should be the library rep. And since we don't get paper copies of the minutes anymore, you'd have to look back and see which meeting it was, but I'm almost maybe positive that we took action that was a thing, because I think I remember making that motion.
Yeah.
well, we'll have to keep it on the radar. We need to approve the library board member at the December, whatever is it, 12th meeting, because the first library board meeting is before the first council meeting in January, so.
Yep.
Our meeting's December 10th.
December 10th.
But we won't have new council
How,
members in January.
Lance, question.
Right, but
How
the
how do
mayor
we,
can appoint a library board member.
how do we approve somebody if they aren't sworn in yet?
Right, so we can't do
Yeah.
anybody until January.
Well, we'll have to figure that out before the next council meeting, how that all is gonna work out.
I don't believe it is, we said whoever has the portfolio. If nobody has the portfolio just yet, we aren't required to have somebody on the library board. So it really is a moot point until we figure out who lands with that portfolio.
And they had a number of applicants for the director position, and they're
7.
conducting interviews towards the end of this month, and then hopefully have a name for the first meeting in December.
Great,
Perfect.
great.
That's it.
Anything else from library? Okay, thank you. Let's go to item number 21, SEH Airport Agreement, and it was an agreement that was on your desk as you arrived this evening. Lance, do you want to speak to that, please?
Yeah, so this is pertaining to those two projects at the airport that we had grant funding for from MnDOT. So it's the remodel of the A&D building and then the addition of the fuel system upgrade. So this is just an agreement with SEH to kind of administer those projects, deal with the grants and all that kind of stuff. So Melissa Underwood from SEH sent this agreement. It's for a total of $6,500. Well, this will also fall under the grant as well. So 95% of that will be MnDOT, will be paid for that through that MnDOT grant, and only 5% will be the city's obligations. So with those two projects, the total grant amount is $80,000, and the total city share of that would be $4,000. So basically, this would just increase our cost to $4,325. So it would be a huge benefit for us to use these consultants and these
Could you
engineers.
repeat that number again, please? Our obligation?
If we agreed to this agreement here, it would be $4,325 total.
You said MnDOT?
Well, it's aeronautics, yes, that's
Okay, so
where the grant is coming from, yes.
you lost me. So we have, the fee is $6,500, of which MnDOT's gonna pay 95%, and our obligation is $4,000?
Well, that's the total project is what I went back to. So there's the two projects that we're doing, the remodel and the fuel upgrade. We got a total of $80,000 in grant, and $4,000 of that project would be on the city share. So $6,500 is just for SCH to be our consultant and to help administer these projects and get the grant and all that stuff. So 5% of that 6,500 is 325.
Okay.
That'll be our share of that.
That money would come out of the airport fund.
Right, and it's, yeah, and we've got the money there.
I'll move to approve this agreement with SEH.
Second.
Motion second, discussion? Discussion?
How much, do you have any idea, do we have any, I don't know, bad people that use the airport for gas? Do we have any people?
Delinquent accounts or anything like that?
Yeah.
They're all good about paying them, yeah.
Okay.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Item number 18, Administrator Report. Lance?
All right, since the last meeting, worked with the clerk and mayor on the agenda, attended Highway 59 one-way construction meetings, completed the State of Minnesota Special Appropriation Annual Progress Report, met with the local pickleball group along with Tyler Ulf from Pelican Valley and Mr. Korf from the Pelican Schools discussing possible locations for new pickleball courts, met with Apex and property owners discussing the possible Highway 59 pedestrian underpass. Reviewed the library director applications and worked on interview questions and scheduling of interviews. Attended meetings with the library director interview committee and finalized the interview questions to ask and selected candidates to interview. Attended a library board meeting, met with my mentor group, started to work on employee performance evaluations. Attended a meeting at the library regarding family resource centers in Otter Tail County. And then met with representatives of the Minnesota Board of Water and Soil Resources, West Otter Tail Soil and Water Conservation District, and the DNR to review the wetland delineation at Sharon Park, the southwest lots and the Ridgecrest lots. Questions?
Thank you.
As of Wednesday of last week, the signs south and west were still up. And as of yesterday, the signs north and east are still up, saying that downtown Pelican Rapids is closed.
Still on 59 north at
And all of them, all four
They're all
directions.
up. They're all up.
I'd like you to keep on
Yeah,
them
that's-
to.
That was brought to their attention a couple times already.
They're still up. It wouldn't be so bad. I mean, all they'd have to do is throw a garbage bag over them or something.
I agree.
It specifically says Highway 59, downtown Pelican Rapids closed. So if we could, I'll go take them down, no problem. But
Any other questions for Lance? Okay, thank you. Item number 19, Mayor Report, just a few items, last couple of weeks. Attended 2024, 2025 Complete Street Staff Meeting here at City Hall on October 30th and November 6th. Those meetings were over as of last week, so they'll continue again next spring in April of 2025. I attended a retirement party for Don Del Greco, park ranger at Maplewood State Park at the DNR headquarters in Fergus Falls on November 2nd. Attended the Highway 59 underpass meeting here at City Hall on November 7th. And then today, Administrator Royce and I met to plan the agenda for this evening's meeting. Any questions?
Thank you.
Seeing no other business, motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Are you sure you want to?
I thought it was, Jim McDonald said it's always supposed to be under an hour.
Oh, we had the auditor. The auditor was here.
That happened at the school.
Oh,